Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Karey Carbaugh podcast, episode number 33. Buenas noches, damas y caballeros, chicos y chicas, niños de todas edades, y bienvenidos a el Karey Carbaugh podcast, número 33. Sorry for the late start here. I thought I was live and then I discovered I was not. So it looks like I am now. So I appreciate your patience through some technical difficulties. It looks like a few people are starting to come on in. So welcome in. My name is Karey Carbaugh, for those of you that I don't know. And I always appreciate the support. I appreciate those of you who are joining consistently, whether on the replay or live. Both are appreciated. If you could let me know whether you're joining me live or on the replay by dropping an L or an R in the comments, or the word live or replay, either way. That's always helpful to know. And also if you could let me know where you're dialing in from. That's also interesting. This podcast is reaching some pretty interesting places, partly because I have friends all over the world. But let me know that in the comments. And again, my name is Karey Carbaugh, hence the name of the podcast, the Karey Carbaugh Podcast. And tonight's episode, like many, came from something that I came across on Instagram this week, and it made me stop and think a bit. Spoiler alert, the title that I came up with kind of tells you in advance where I'm heading with this. So buckle up and come along for the ride. And we'll see if we get there. As always, let me know if you're getting value from this by dropping the word value or a V in the comments. And I'm going to ask for some interaction tonight to see if you agree with some of this. This first statement that got me thinking, I'm not sure, I'm still kind of resonating with it, but I want to read it to you because I want to make sure that I get it correct. And for those of you who don't know me personally, I am a person with low vision, so if you see me looking down at my phone or looking close at my phone, that's why, because I put notes on my phone and then I have to look at it fairly close to see what's on my phone. So that's why I'm not trying to look away from the camera, look away from you all. Just trying to get some notes correct, especially tonight here. What was it that made me think of something? Oh, the primary purpose for these podcasts is to help boost your self-esteem, to help you feel better about yourself. I'm still drilling in on exactly where I'm heading with these podcasts, but that's the general theme, is self-esteem, self-worth, and tonight's topic in particular is going to speak to that pretty greatly. I'm pretty sure we're live, but let me just double check here and make sure. Yes. Yes, we are live. Okay. It was looking a little different, and I wanted to make sure before I dive too far into this. So, the statement that I came across that got me thinking about this week says, you will never feel love from anybody else. You can only feel love that you have for yourself. What do you think about that? Do you agree that you can never feel love from anybody else? You can only feel the love that you have for yourself? Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree with that statement. I kind of had to resonate with that a little bit myself and think about that a bit. I'm not sure I agree with the statement the way he stated it, though the more I thought about it, I think maybe part of his sentiment was that you can't feel love from someone else until you love yourself. So in other words, if you don't love yourself, nobody else can love you enough to break through that. And he used an example which I think is a pretty good one. If someone is feeling sad, you can't make them feel better or make them feel happy until they're ready to feel better, until they've worked their way through whatever it is that they're sad about and they're ready to move on. This reminds me of a joke that I heard when I was in college. My degree, I think I've shared this on a previous podcast, but for those who don't know, my degree in college was psychology and sociology. And I heard a joke, I believe it was in a psychology class. How many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? Well, the answer is only one, but the light bulb has to want to change. And I think that speaks into what we're talking about here, that you can't make someone else love themselves or feel happy until they're ready. There's nothing that you or I can say to someone to move them beyond that point. You need to love yourself first before someone else can love you and you can be ready to receive that love. I just want to make sure I don't miss any of my notes here. We covered that. So the title of my podcast, You Can't Lead Someone Else to Someplace Where You Are Not. I formed it in a question. Can you lead someone else to someplace where you are not? Let me know what you think about that. Can you? If you are not happy, can you make someone else happy? If you don't feel good about yourself, if you don't have a positive self-esteem about yourself, can you help someone else feel positively about themselves? Let me know that in the comments. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are. Similarly, if you are, we talked about that. If you're not confident in yourself, can you make someone else feel confident about themselves? I'm not sure you can, but I'd be interested in knowing what you all think. This is one of those topics that I'm open to suggestions. Maybe if you're down in the dumps, you can help someone else feel happy. I'm struggling a little bit with how, but if you have an idea, share that in the comments, and I'll either look at it here in a bit or try to catch it and reply to it on the replay. I want to make sure I get through all this and don't make this podcast as long as the one was last week. If you don't respect yourself, then I think it's hard to help someone else respect themselves. You don't necessarily have to have come through the same path as someone else. I don't think. Again, let me know what you think about this. If you are not a recovering addict, I think you can still help someone else with their addiction. However, if you yourself are still addicted to, I'll just use alcohol or drugs as an example, I'm not sure that you can help someone else break their addiction while you're still addicted. So I don't know that you necessarily have to go through that process the same way. But I think you have to at least be where you're trying to lead someone else. So in the case of addiction, you have to be free from your own addiction before you can lead someone else through their addiction. Again, what do you think? Let me know that in the comments. Can you lead someone else where you are not? If you are, well, I'll just go ahead and use this example. It just popped into my head. If you are not a Christian, can you lead someone else to Christianity or to Christ? I use that as an example because, as many of you know, I am a believer. I'm not so sure you can. However, I don't know that you necessarily have to have been a non-believer in order to lead a non-believer to Christ. Perhaps it helps because you can relate in a different way. But I'm not sure that that's a requirement. Similarly with addiction, it might help and you might be able to relate better if you've been through your own addictions. But I'm not sure that's a requirement to be able to help someone through theirs. I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in here. Let me take a look and see if I can respond to at least a few of them. See if you guys are picking up what I'm putting down or if any of this is resonating. Pardon me while I look a little closer here than I normally would. What do you think? Ooh, some of these comments are a little long, so I'm not going to try to read them, but I will go back through them. I appreciate you tuning in to Neil. I see you're interacting here. Hopefully you're getting value from this. I'll read one of yours here. They also say those who can't do, teach. That's true. That's a very good example. Those who can't do something or who can't lead can still teach. And I think that is talking to somewhat the same thing that we're talking through here. Oh, that's the one I just read. Thank you, Tennille. I'm glad you're getting value from this. I think, similarly, if I can just call out Tennille, because Tennille's another podcaster here, and her group is on chronic illness. And I think if we take a look at that for a minute, I don't think you have to be chronically ill to help someone through their journey, through their building of their self-esteem. However, someone who has walked that journey with them or has walked that journey of their own is in a different place to help someone with chronic illness through their journey. So it doesn't mean that you have to be chronically ill to help someone who's chronically ill. But if you are, you can certainly relate in a different way. Similarly, to use my own example so that I'm not just calling out to Neil, I don't think you have to be a person with a vision impairment to help someone who is visually impaired. In fact, many of the people who have helped me the most are not visually impaired. They are sighted people, and they've been able to help me function more in the sighted world rather than regressing into the world of the visually impaired. Another comment here. True, they trust me more too. Absolutely. I think there is a level of trust there when you've walked the path. Because you know what they're going through, especially with chronic illness. That may have been a poor example of this, because I do think someone who's chronically ill, I can relate and I can be a friend and hopefully have been a friend and made Tennille laugh sometimes when she maybe hasn't felt like laughing. But I've never experienced the pain on the same level that she has. So someone else who has, like another friend of mine, Chanel, that I had the privilege of singing with at Carnegie a few months ago, who's going through a very similar illness. She can relate on a different level because she's experienced the pain. However, no two people are going to experience the pain in exactly the same way, even if they have the same illness. Saludos, hermano. I just noticed one of my friends from Mexico is tuning in. Saludos desde Colorado a Miguel. Muchas gracias por siempre mirando este podcast. Thank you very much for always tuning in and watching these podcasts. Y para compartirlo and for sharing them. He's one of my great supporters. He and Tennille both almost always tune into these, either live or on the replay. And I truly appreciate both of you and all the rest of you who are either on now or might tune in and watch this on the replay. That's pretty much what I wanted to share. Again, let me know if you agree or not. First of all, if you agree or not with the statement that I brought up at the beginning, that you cannot feel the love from someone else. You can only feel the love that you have for yourself. Again, I'd be interested to know if you agree with that or not. Perhaps what he meant is that you cannot internally feel someone else's love. You can feel the result of it. You can feel the overflow. But perhaps that's what he meant, is that you cannot personally feel love in the same way from someone else that you can for yourself. I don't know. I kind of struggled with that a little bit, but it gave me a springboard to jump off of for this podcast. So I hope you found value. Tennille mentioned that she got value from this. Thank you so much, Tennille, for saying that I'm an iconic friend. I appreciate that. You are absolutely an iconic friend. You're one that I'm going to get on this podcast. We're going to do a share like we did on yours. I'm just about ready for that. I'm working out a few details, and we will get you on, and I can introduce you to my audience, because you are, my friend, an icon. I appreciate you sharing that with me, and I just want to echo that back to you. I guess it takes one to know one, perhaps, but you and the community that we're a part of are certainly iconic, and thank you. So with that, as I bring this in for a landing, I hope you've gotten value from this. Let me know if you would like to be added to my email list. Drop the word email in the comments or shoot me a direct message with your email address. I'm going to be starting some more private events that hopefully will be something that I can invite some of my regulars to if you'd like to be added to that email list. Sorry about that. I was just getting a message that I hope I'm still live. I think I am. It's telling me attention needed, so I better wrap this up before we go down if we're going to crash here. But do let me know. Drop me the word email or send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram, primarily Facebook. Let me know if you'd like to be added to that. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in. Make it a great day or a great week. Until next time, I've got some exciting things that I hope to be bringing to you before next week. I'll just give you a little teaser. I'm waiting for a couple things to come for me to be able to do that, and then I will hopefully do some short lives in the meantime. But make it a blessed evening. Make it a great day for someone around you. Do something positive for somebody you come in contact with. Until next time, make it a great day. Thanks for watching, and good night. Bye-bye for now.